In this video, we're going to talk about top 7 Framer tips, and number 1 and 4 is massively helping me to build perfect Framer templates. And by the way, if you have some kind of related experience or let's say magical tips, share with us in the comment section, and keep in mind that we post every week about Framer, so consider to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and without further ado, let's see what we have. Okay, tip number 1 is actually you can use grids inside Framer. This is some kind of, hidden feature. A lot of people don't know that we actually have grids on Framer. By pressing Ctrl G, and a nice grid appears on your canvas. And if you click on your canvas, you can see that the guide's setting, you can specify the counting, alignment, width, gap, margins, even the color or direction. And as you can see, this guy, by the way, this is a, let's say this is a free template on the marketplace. I remixed it, and basically a lot of videos are, the example of a lot of videos are basically this template. This is nice, hats off to the creator, but as you can see, even this guy missed using grids on his template, let's say, or maybe there's some kind of specific setting on the grid, but a lot of people are misusing grids on Framer. Alright, tip number 2 is positioning. Absolute positioning. If you want to basically design something on Framer, you have to always keep your rules consistent. For example, you cannot say that I want to move something freely on the canvas. For example, let's say I do have a stack here, or let's say we have a text here, hello world. Let's make it a little bit bigger, 70 pixel. Let's hit enter, and as you can see, I'm free to move it everywhere because the parent layer doesn't have any kind of setting or some kind of layout, and all of the child are free to do anything. Like, this is obviously good for if you have some kind of color overlays or some kind of weird or let's say hard visuals. You can use absolute positioning, but all of the items, as I said, should be under some kind of rules. For example, let's say you can see that the hello world text is set to absolute position type. Even the frame is also using absolute position type. And if we add layout to the desktop, you can see that everything is going to be organized under some kind of rules that we say, let's say layout, the type, direction, distribution, you can see here, alignment, wrap, gap, padding, and etc. So you can see that the direction is vertical, so that means all of the elements are going to be basically underneath each other. Let's say as soon as the direction is vertical, if we set it to horizontal, it's going to be horizontal. Okay, and the distribution is at the start. That's why you see it at the very beginning on the left side. And the alignment is at the center because we have a, let's say we have a desktop. Yeah, we have a desktop parent, and the height is actually 1000 pixel, and it's going to place everything at the middle of that 1000 pixel height. Okay, so these are some kind of rules that we define for the template, or let's say for the website, and everything is going to be treated under those rules, and we're going to have a better responsive if we do such a thing. Or let's say that if we want to make everything on a absolute positioning, you can see that as soon as you set it to absolute, it's free to move anywhere. Like, yeah, this is a bad child, let's say. And you can see that it's not going to convey any rules under the basically the parent rules, and you can do anything once you set absolute positioning for an element, okay? So you can go ahead, learn more about positioning, sizing, layout, and everything on Framer basically. But for now, if you want to have better breakpoints, let's say, or if you want to have a good responsive on mobile, tablet, desktop, or large screens, you definitely need to know how to when to use absolute positioning and how we should basically set our absolute positioning to something that can be good on each of those sizes. Basically, you can see that the pin setting is here to basically keep your elements, for example, let's say 86 pixel from the top. Like if you change the height, it's gonna always treat it's gonna always stay 86 pixel at the top. Okay, so this is some kind of rules. Like you can go ahead and learn more about it, but for now, don't use absolute positioning everywhere. It's gonna break everything. Alright guys, tip number 3 and 4. We're gonna merge those two because it's very related. The tip number 3 is actually structure, how to structure your website or let's say template on Framer, and tip number 4 is accessibility in Framer. Okay, you can see that this website is having a desktop primary, which is let's say the main container of all of these sections, and you can see that all of the sections are beneath each other and everything has its own name. It's semantic. Like always keep your layers in a semantic naming. Okay, this helps your client of the designers that are going to work on this template in the future, and super cool and super good. Like this is good. Hats off to the creator. You can see that the hero section, valuable features, benefits, useful features, why choose us, and all of these sections are placed inside a stack which is called desktop primary. A lot of people use this kind of structure, but I'm going to show you how I do it on my own templates. For example, let's say we do have this desktop primary. We're going to basically draw another frame here, and we're going to set the width to fill, height fill, and we're going to set a layout for that stack that we created. Let's basically name it as main. Okay, and what we're going to do is actually we're going to give it a tag on the accessibility, and let's say we want this one to be the main stack. Okay, and everything inside the website, all of the contents should be inside another frame, or let's say stack, because we're going to add layout, and once we add layout it's going to turn into stack, so never mind. Okay, and this is, for example, hero section. The naming is important. Like for example, I'm going to say branding section, hero section, features section. I always keep section after the main name, or let's say this hero. You can see no need to explain anymore. So and actually this is so important. Like we need another tag for all of the sections, and I'm gonna give it a section, the section accessibility tag for all of my sections. You can see on this template all of these sections need to have a and they have, like you can see here, they have a section tag. But yeah, as I said, I'm gonna show you how I do all of these stuff. Okay, I'm gonna set the width and height to fill so that my section is full width. You can basically give it a little bit different setting. For example, let's say we want 10 pixel padding, or let's say 32 pixel padding on the main, and this hero section is going to be repeated. Let's say I'm going to repeat this hero section. I'm going to call it, for example, brand section, and etc. We're going to continue definitely, but for now, yeah, and let's set the direction to basically vertical. And as you can see, we have to set the main height to fit content, so that every time we add some kind of new content, it's going to enlarge based on the content that we added. Also, we need to set the desktop height to fit content, and we're good to basically continue on this, let's say, template. But the whole point is actually you have to give it a semantic name, and you have to always make sure that all of your sections are inside a main stack, which has the accessibility tags. And accessibility is actually one of the things that helps you a lot in SEO performance and having a better code translation. Okay, so always keep your accessibility and semantic naming and structure on your templates. Right, guys, tip number 5 is max width and min width. This is super important. Take notes. For example, if we want to basically create a larger screen, or let's say a larger breakpoint, let's call it large screens, and basically we're gonna have 90/20 size here, and as you can see, everything is still on the same size as we had on the desktop view, and everything is aligned at the center. This is basically all of the settings on the layout panel, but the sizes are basically thanks to, let's say, thanks to max width and min width. You can see that the hero stack doesn't have any max width or min width, but if we take a closer look, all of the inner sections, for example, this widget container, or let's basically open up the benefit, you can see that the container inside benefit has a max width set by 1228. Okay, and this is the thing that keeps all of the section size on the same amount. For example, this 1228, and this is why it doesn't get messed up on larger screens, or let's say on smaller screens. And yeah, you know that the min width is useful here. For example, if we have a smaller breakpoint, it's not going to get messed up because we have min width on all of the sections. So keep in mind that always you have to set min width and max width for all of your items, so that it doesn't get messed up on larger screens or either on smaller screens. Tip number 6, try to use less blurry things on Framer websites. You might have seen that while you choose to make something blurry on your Framer canvas, a little badge appears that says, "Don't do that." I'm just kidding. I'm going to show it on the video, but even the Framer team said that don't use a lot of blur options. You know that the design should be translated into code, and there might be some kind of issues with blurry things. So that's why I say don't use a lot of blurry things. And for the last tip, number 7, don't do a lot of text animation on your Framer website. For example, this website, it has a lot of text animation even on the smaller text, and it's not that good for your website performance. It's even a bad UX, and it's kind of like over animating stuff. Like, you know, For example, if the user scrolls fast through the website, all of the text rendering gets into trouble because the previous one takes a little bit time to render and you're scrolling too much fast and your website performance gets into trouble. So that's why don't use a lot of text animation on your Framer website. Let's keep it to the titles and that's it. All right, guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Peace.